What is up, YouTube? Little white monster suits the. Where are we? Look at. Oh yeah, suits the fit right now. So today I'm gonna take you guys through my fitness journey, kind of why I started bodybuilding, and kind of what I've struggled with in sort of 3 separate stages. Obviously, no journey is a straight road. I had ups and downs, but I kind of separate it into the three pillars of fitness, right? Training, working that out, figuring out what worked for me, nutrition next, and then recovery, and how I'm tying those all together at the moment to bring the best physique to stage in September. So here we are. This is 2018. So at the time I was 16 here. This is maybe a couple months into training, or I mean, I'll match it with my photos. Let's see what we got. I didn't consistently start training till about 2020, I'd say. I think this is a couple months in, so nothing to show for it. Here we got a little surf strap, Juice WRLD, solid. Like I've got a good base to start with, good genetics, with the wide clavicle, small waist, and I've always been leaner. So if we have a look here, good shoulder to waist ratio without even training. So here's where it gets diabolical. All right, this is October 2020. We're in deep. This is where I started to relock in because I barely trained, maybe 3 times a week. Food was non-existent. All right, why is that highlighted? Again, you can see there's a good base, right? Like the shoulders are out. Weight back here, we're looking at 58 kilos, and then jumping to 2020, this is probably around 63. All right, so really started to kick up consistency. Here we go. You could say this is the starting point, got like, say 6 months of good training in. So newbie gains are into effect. So look at this, chest, non-existent. However, serratus, dialed, abs, the arm genetics are not bad, but shoulders are there. Here we go, look at that. Just screaming already. I'm built for open, bro. Shut up. All right, back double bi, not bad. I've got, again, the shoulder waist ratio is nice. Lat insertions, you can't really tell. Okay, they do look a little bit high, but if you look here, this is really where the lat insert, like lower lat, and then if I just, 3 years of hypertrophy, smack a slab on there, solid. Shoulders, nice from the rear. Legs, we're not going to talk about those. I skipped them for like a year of my training. It's so sad. Triceps have always kind of been non-existent for me. I only started locking in. What I've got, look, I've got rear delts, bro. I've got the rear delts. Always had them on lock. Now, here we can get a close-up. Look, apprentice painter. The chest is concave, bro. That shit goes inward. It's rough in the streets. You could say I have rib flare, but that's just my breathing is just not on lock. Triceps, again, not bad, but even now I still miss this sort of the long head. So you got the rear delt kind of doing a weird thing here, but shoulders are nice. Let's go on. Here we got a rear relaxed. I was hitting bodybuilding poses from the get-go, bro. All right, so here you can see the lats, right? They just look so sad. But again, this is when you're just starting out. try not to get too obsessed with this. I am speaking from hindsight, bro. I was obviously had insecurity about how I looked, and that's kind of a reason why I started. And also, I was pretty weak being a painting apprentice, you know, and I worked for a construction company. You know, the boys are going to dig into you. So, all right. Look at this, just, bro, what is this hair? Oh, it's wild. Side chest is a little bit crazy. Obviously, I would have brought up this shoulder a bit more, crunched in the chest. Anyway, chest genetics were not great. Like, we just got flatness. If there's no volume. Shoulder, again, not bad. Arms, not terrible. At the time, I was playing volleyball as well, so that is why my base is a little bit leaner. Here we go. We got some bathroom photos. Look at the gyno, bro. Puffy nips. At what, 20? Yeah, 2020. 18, sorry. Yeah. I've always been highly estrogenic, so this is just not a great shot for me. What else we got? I really liked this photo, and so did little bro for a long time. I think just made me look beefy, you know. I was looking huge. All right, where are we now? 2021 in January. So start of the year, looking pretty good. The lats are starting to come in here. Bicep peaks are right. At least I was posing with the bicep peaks above the shoulder. Here we go. This is a better side chest. So bringing the shoulder around here. The lighting's kind of dookie, but fullness is getting there, right? It's coming in. And you can see that by the chain that's draping over. Rear delt looking really nice. And legs again, we're not gonna speak about that. Only thing I would have changed about this pose is bringing the elbow in a bit. So what I was running here it was push-pull legs, a push-pull leg split. I think I was, you know, consuming a lot of Jeff Nippard's videos, and I've always been a bit more inclined to dig into that sort of thing. All right, so we're skipping forward a month here. Obviously, my nutrition and recovery, I was paying no mind to. Maybe I was tracking calories at this point, but I doubt it, because when I do my first bulk, that's what I needed to track to make sure I got calories. Bro, these photos are a violation. Violation. This really highlights the lack of chest development. Shoulders, again, not terrible. Just disgusting. This shows off the shoulder waist ratio nicely. The chest is just like so negative, bro. It's just terrible. All right, now this is February. We're skipping forward another month. All right, can I zoom? Yeah. Okay. Here's little bro. So genetics he's 2 years younger, so he would have been 17. So I turned 6th of February is my birthday, so turned to 19. He moved to Ireland and was locked on fitness, so I was playing like catch up. Here you can see the nice V taper I got going on. This is, so you can say a year into training consistently. Yes, let's go with that. Biceps, nice. I've always been a bit leaner, so it's good. I don't think there was a way to zoom without. Anyway, here we go, showing off the dookie chest. I thought this was such a good photo. Obviously, look at my expression. Such a good pose. It's definitely improved compared to a year ago at this point, right? It's just the fullness it's always been a point of improvement for me. Like, I still to this day need to bring it up a little bit. Like, it's getting there. Oh, just trained chest today, so I've got some blood in there. All right, shoulders, not bad. You got a little bit of striation coming through. Tricep, dookie. I mean, I'm just hitting the pose pretty poorly anyway, but serratus is there and pretty lean. So what do we got next? And skip. Oh no, not skipping. So this is where I started working away for Monday to Friday. It was pretty hard to get the calories in. I was working 10 hours a day. I didn't eat a pre-workout meal. But what I would do is on the first day, I would go to Coles, get a huge pack of like chicken schnitzels, just a packet of spinach. That was my lunch, bro. If I had eaten more, there would be just more gains on the table, you know. So again, posing is pretty good, and V-taper. The chest isn't looking terrible here, but obviously lack of volume. Now this is where like the strong point of my back starts to show through. So still getting the peaks up pretty high, which is nice. Shoulders, not bad. And here you go. You see the lats, they're starting to come through a little bit. And the lower lat here, it's nice. Legs, still, we don't know. I didn't show them off. Side chest. Ugh, bro. Anyway, like, fullness is coming through. Shoulders are nice. And looking at the arms here, look, evidence of paint. All right, what else we got? I think we're gonna. All right, that's a few days later. Oh, the legs, bro. We got them out. What do we got here? Absolutely fuck all. Okay, but not terrible. Not terrible. Okay. Now this is showing off again my pretty good genetics with just bone structure. Even in the ab and thigh, having a taper with not that much, there's like some muscle mass, but not a lot. It's pretty decent. I'm not going to complain. Serratus is there. This just shows it all. All right, let's get in here. What do we got? Vascularity coming through a little bit. Shoulders, not bad. Chest definition is coming in. But gyno has been a problem for me, man. It's just not good. It's not good. All right, what else we got? I mean, I got the legs are diabolical. Absolutely terrible. Not bad in the arms. I must have been taking my food a bit more seriously because you can see I'm looking like fluffier than initially. Shoulders are just, what the helly. But I was, so pulling up my shoulders too much definitely took away from the back in this shot. Here we go, trying to be aesthetic. Yeah. Terrible pose by me here. I think there's another shot. No, we'll go with this. I think I was still in, no, it didn't get any better. This arm should have been pushed back and flexed down more. This isn't terrible, but 100% of the weight was on this foot. Not good. Flexing this leg, no. So if anything, I should have been hips a bit more straight on, small waist, so don't have to worry about that. And then that way, pushing the leg and the knee facing outwards activates some quad and gets some definition. Look at the side relaxed, bro. Holy. Not bad, look. Still shooting up here, obviously bringing this shoulder forward, expose the lat. This leg should have been straight. But you can see some shape there. That's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. Okay. I think, bro, my vacuum took so long to lock in. Look at that. I think this was an attempt at a vacuum. This is why I put this photo in. Yeah, not good. But I thought this photo was sick. I think I remember putting it on my story. So at the time, the girlfriend I had wasn't a fan of me posting any sort of content related to fitness or just, you know, flexing on Instagram. So I never did for a long time. This shows the good bone structure, chest, poor. But we can see the lats peeking through. delts are capping a little bit. Here, okay, this is, the date on this is going to be 2021, but this is back in 2018, right? You can see the vascularity. We're not going to question the photo, okay? But look at ab veins, chest, non-existent, bro. My forearms are as big as my biceps, so terrible. Here we are back at the current time, end of February, no pump, post-shower. We got the legs out. Yeah. Not much to show off here, but not a terrible shape. Now, we're into March, working away again. Bringing the shoulders up too high in this pose, but you can't complain. I think I deadlifted this day, so mid-back erectors were pumped up. All right, where are we jumping to? A week later, terrible shot, bro. In the natty lighting. Look at this shit, bro. The chest is not bad. Got the striations coming through, full shoulder. Serratus. You can see some hamstring and a terrible tan. This is aesthetic, bro. You know, that's what it is. Ugh. Look at the facial expression. As you can tell, I was heavily inspired by Alex Eubank. You know, that's why I was just a chest genetic hater, because he's got that. Still showing somewhat of a taper. The legs, they are developing. Look, you can see some separation in the quads. Not bad. So this was at EMF at Pack Fair. Solid gym. Obviously, we hit a chest session today. You got to do it. You got to do it when you're not really following a super structured split. This chest is much improved from the few months ago. These lines here, solid. Serratus, clean. Not a terrible shot. See, now this has a bit of a better shape because I'm not driving the shoulders up so high. Back lat spread was always an issue for me. If anything, I'm seeing, hold on, there's like the hint of veins, bro. This looks disgusting. I did think these were some goated shots. Okay. Look at that. V-taper, serratus, dialed, bro. Dialed. All right, now, what's the time jump on that? 2 days later. Working away again here. This is not a bad shot. Okay, chest genetics just dookie, bruv. Dookie. And look like I'm flexing so hard that I'm probably going to pass out post-shower. But you can see the vascularity. It's not terrible. Now, we were working in Hillview, that's near Tamworth. So I remember this gym was pretty good. Like, I'd go back to the Airbnb, get changed, head straight to the gym so that I could get there before the staff leave, and still get a session in after they go. I believe this was a chest session. They had metal plates, dude, which is freaking goated. This is a better pose. Look, you can see the lats coming in. Not bad. Thought I looked jacked as fuck there. Again, solid shot. I think we're in Tamworth again. Different bathroom. I thought this was cracked, bro. The chest is improving a little bit. Delts have always been a strong point, I think, from a lot of overhead work, painting-wise. Vascularity is there. Bro, my posing was so bad. What is this? I've got my full shoulder blade retracted there. It should have just been up. Would be way better. Abs are there, chest trash. Here we go, the boys. Here's little bro, looking bigger than me. And if he watches the videos, like, the chest has come up a bit. It's not terrible. Shoulders, nice. Dylan's always had triceps on me. Always. He still does. Serratus is good. And I'm lucky to be just a leaner individual. Back to the OG bathroom. This is much better than what was previously. I think they're lap veins, bro. What is going on? That's not a bad shot. Here's a crazy shot, dude. Look at that. We jump forward to May. All right. Look at the definition. It's fucking nuts. Obviously, my hair's getting a bit wild, but it's fine. And here's the genetics. All right, this is Dad. He just worked at this point. He was doing paddling prior, but that's what it is. No posing experience, no gym experience. Solid. Shout out Dad and Dylan if they're watching. Here we go. Look at that. Back pump. It's nuts. I remember doing like a comparison photo. I don't know if I put it in or not. No. All right, and here's where I fell off. Detrained. I don't know what's going on with my stomach, why I'm all red. As you can see, working away, like, that shit took a toll on me, bro. Where are we? June, May, so a month later, no training, and dookie. Oh, terrible, terrible stuff. I think this was... Yep, still June. Oh, the shape's still there, but it's just so much worse. Ugh. And then we just locked back in. No, wait, this can't be right. This has got to be from earlier. Yeah, okay. Scratch what I just said. This was from when I started work. I don't know. I mean, I could fact check it, but I can't be asked. Alright. We're just going to go with this, is where we're at. This is a solid shot, okay? The lighting was a bit better, and then this is nice, bro. Look at the thickness is really coming through. The lats, see how I was talking before? They do actually follow all the way down. So it's like mid to low lat inserts, which is good. I kind of have a preference for that because you look fucking mean from the back. I think I was getting re-locked in. I definitely took some time off the gym because I remember doing this just like a home workout. Look at that. I liked these shots. This is a good shot. Not much space left in between. Solid top line. Chest not looking terrible. I thought this was so aesthetic. I think I posted this one. The chest is not bad. Obviously, you can't tell much. Alrighty. No, I definitely detrained. Wait. July, August, September. Again, 2 months out. I was just so locked on working. This was recently after binging The Witcher. You know, I was obsessed. Tried to emulate that, but and then where are we? September. Right, and then we go through a rough patch. This is like COVID came along, but I was lucky to still keep working. But it was a rough time, bro. I was going through some mental health problems, and it definitely affected me. Like, you can look at this. Look at my face, bro. What am I doing? Lean, but I just wasn't eating food properly. I was still like training, trying to progressively overload, but the shape is there. The shape is definitely there. But mental health is tied to your physical health. If you're not performing optimally mentally, you're not going to be performing optimally physically. All right, you can just see. This is a period of not it for me. September, this is back at the gym. I'm locking back in. That's not bad. All right, where are we? September. You can see some good shape here. Look at that. Bang. The lats through. Solid top line again. Hitting a mantis pose. Low-key aesthetic. Showing off how lean I am. All right. Re-locking back in. Back at the gym again. This is solid shape here, actually. So I find that when I drop back down, I find it really easy to grow back up to where I was at previously, you know, muscle memory. Chest, you can see some definition coming in. Also, don't mind the photo quality. I was using a Google Pixel for some reason. Again, lats, decent. There we go, side relaxed-ish. Shoulder to waist, looking nice. Oh, what did I do? Yep. Hey. Okay. This is a much better pose than, where you go, like 6 months ago or whatever. Because I'm actually pushing the shoulder up rather than keeping it retracted. Bicep solid. For some reason, there's a weird smoothing effect from the photo. Lat, look at the lat. She popping. All right. You can see the veins popping here, bro. I must have been locked at the gym that day. This is a solid shot. Arm's not looking bad. This is a way better side relax than what I had previously. See how I was saying bring that shoulder forward to myself, if I brought that shoulder forward. Crunching it across so I can get some chest definition and tapering up. Just a very good triangular shape here. Bro, this is right before my downfall, pretty much, again. I still think this photo looks aesthetic. I must have had the most goated chest pump. I'm not even posing. Vascularity is nice, and just looking solid up top. And then lean, good taper. Side chest didn't look terrible. The only thing probably would be to close this gap. And then the legs are coming in. Only a year and a half later. I'm pretty sure the downfall is soon. Here we go. What the fuck? So we go from October to May. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Detrained for like 7 months. This occurs again sometime in the future. But re-locking in, I chowed down on the food, bro. But I still kept some shape. We're not going to question the hair and the beard combo. I'll fix it up later. I love doing these. Still to this day. Obviously, this was way more aesthetic than what is going on. In this. So obviously I had to get back to some sort of decent physique. I thought this shot was pretty goated. You can see the leg development is poor. It should sweep out, but it sweeps like it's a fucking cone shape the wrong way. That's better, but need more quad development. Even still got some shape here, and the abs are still got abs. I think I was like 80 something kilo here. Getting into some aesthetic posing totally. I got rid of the beard, which is nice, but what is that? All right. This is not bad. Little kneeling reverse crucifix. Getting a tan. You can see, even though I'm fat as, bro, I still had abs and serratus a little bit. So I do tend to hold my fat in my lower back. Yeah, you can see it in this shot. Like, terrible. It's probably like just 90% there. It's not a bad shot. So yeah, I loved hitting this. Just look at that, son. There's like probably 3 kilos of fat just down there. Rubbery looking muscle. A little bit weird. I thought this was solid. Wait, let's get a timeline on this now. Where are we? June 2020. Holy shit. I skipped pretty far. No, I'm retarded. No, I'm stupid. Anyway. Still got abs, which is nice. I was dialing in the diet. This mantis is pretty solid. Obviously, if I had a tighter waist, it would be... Whoop. Yeah, but Can't argue with that. Still, nutrition is questionable, obviously. That, I was a fan of the reverse crucifix, I guess. Here we go. So you can see with a bit more mass on me that the lats are coming through. See, before it was like that. So we got, there's just, the fat is just sitting all here, and the booty. Don't know what I was looking at. I think a homie there. Very aesthetic. Obviously, you know, shave off the fat, and you just got a classic shot there. Yeah, I think I was definitely dialing in the diet and picking up on the training again. We're towards the end of June. This is in like Cessnock. Arms are solid. I remember creating a TikTok about this, using this video. Legs, there you can see mass coming through. Alright. Comparison photos. We got chopped shit over here. Still in the process of fixing up whatever this is. Had a mullet at the time, but the lats improved a lot. You can see the probably similar body fat percentage, but you can see the quad lines coming through. Chest still terrible. I say it's still terrible, but obviously better than that. Like, you can see the mass. I was definitely putting on the kegs. This is where I must have started tracking consistently. I think I was having like 5,000 calories a day. Something stupid. Of any sort of food. I thought this was aesthetic. I had some cupping done maybe a couple weeks prior. The leg shape is not bad. This is where I started to develop a weird lean. Bro hated me for so long for that. On my side chests, but we're just going to ignore that. Alright. I'm definitely starting to get more dialed. You can see the sweeps coming in, so I must have been taking my leg training a bit more serious. If I just stood a bit further apart, pushed that hip back, this would look smaller. Lat popping, but serratus still there, so there we go. Oh yeah, the hair, I fixed it. I cut it off. Crucifix pose here, solid. I do look like an egg, but I'm not hating it. Lats are there, waist is getting dialed. Just got a variation on a front lat. Not bad. Shout out James. Bro shouldn't have moved away, but we're not going to question that. Again, a crucifix pose. Bold egg ahead. But I'm liking the lines here. This is this is just the other angle using my phone, I think. Yeah, it is. You can see it down there. A little Marvel sticker on it. Solid. The vacuum just didn't come naturally to me. It was a hard ask. I thought this shot was sick. Look at the legs here. Popping out. Where are we? July 2022. So I'm 20 years old here. Delts are nice. Arms, solid. Abs are there. Bang. I mean, I don't know how I didn't fall over here. Somehow we also jumped a month. I wasn't really on my game when it came to like recording, posing and stuff like I am today, but thick boy. Side try is getting there. Obviously my flexibility was not on point, and if I dropped this shoulder and actually extended the arm, it'd be way better, but serratus. Chest isn't looking dookie. Shape, somewhat to the quad and hamstring. I think we're coming up on the natty ICN comp I did. I did a week prep. I personally don't count it. Anyway, it was a week prep. I think I shot down to like 1,800 calories or 1,500. Alright. Because I only found out about the comp a week prior. yeah, I must have been dialing in. You can see some quad definition, whoa, starting to come through. Chest is not terrible. The pose is, though. Yeah, look at that. 10th of September. Got the tan, did it myself, with the help of the missus at the time. We're not going to delve into this because every shot looked terrible. You can see I don't even look lean. Funny thing is, I continued the cut maybe for a month just by going back to like below maintenance. I get way leaner, bro. Here we go. You can just see. Should not have competed, but I did it for the fun of it. As you can see, like fat is still there, like so much. Shape's not bad, but definitely not as lean. Here we go. I had to include some evidence that I did play volleyball, getting up there. Look, immediately this is, what, a month later. This is way better than what I stood on stage with. Oh, but quad lines are there. I did wear the trunks that I wore at the show because I was like, yeah, I'll see how lean I am now, you know. Really good for the, like, even you can just see the fat around the waist is just way better. And this is, again, right before downfall number 2. This was like the most aesthetic my back had ever looked. Dylan, my little bro, really, he was a fan of this picture too for a while, as was I. All right, let's see. So November, and then bang. Bang, bro. What the hell is this? So for like 9 months, I detrained. This is after getting re-locked in a little bit, dialing in the diet. I was working 70 hours a week, eating takeaway every meal, and sleeping all the time. It was a horrid, the worst time period of my life. I compare it to a Matt Grego situation. Mental health was in the trash, bro. Little brother had moved away. This was like, I did break up with that said girlfriend a month prior to this. This is at the homie's house, James, the one that also moved away, little dog. But yeah, this is where I decided I had to re-lock in and get my shit sorted and set some boundaries with work. This is me reminiscing my leanness, you know. I was getting there, but you can see it like in my face. Shit was not good. Bang! Oh my days. Okay, so starting point of the cut. I knew that's what had to be done. All right. So this is pushing like 87 kilos, possibly 90. You know, that's just shocking. Arms are there, solid. Abs are there, barely, but they're still there. So, good lord. Look at that. Look at that shit. One way to get thicker, though, definitely. All right. Fresh cut. So you can still see the genetics like holding me over, bro. The shoulder to waist ratio was still there. So, all right. This is locking in at the new gym, well gym in Coffs. Practicing in the vacuums because it was still not good. You can still see the shape is there, but this is where I really had to dial in nutrition. I did jump on with Terence Ruffin for 2 or 3 months. Schedules just didn't really line up very well, and I think he was a bit busy going to events and stuff, so I couldn't quite get a hold of him when I needed. But that did set me up with training, nutrition, and protocol, everything. So I was running a push-pull legs upper-lower split, which I'm a big fan of. To be honest, I might even go back to that, and I have done in the past. All right. The shape is there. Training legs consistently, you can see the mass is getting on well. Still a taper, even though I'm fat as fuck. Okay. Not bad. Still trying to improve that vacuum. I'm doing nothing with my legs here, so posing definitely could still use an improvement. That's not terrible. You can see a taper, but it's a fat mass, bro. I'm a ball of lard. Here we go. This I might have given up the card, if you know what I mean, a month prior. That was a turning point for me as I decided I knew I wanted to compete actually properly this time. I knew I never wanted to feel the way I did again those 9 months, and I knew that's what I wanted. So I did decide to cross the bridge when it came to it, and if you see the accelerated progress, that'll be why. But you can see the shape is getting much better here. Chest, even though it's overexposed as. All right, trained with bro. This is him here for Christmas. He then also breaks up with his missus like months later. But legs are solid, man. And the taper coming in, bro, you can see just the fat. The fat. Also, hopefully bro don't mind being in the tube, but... Alright. Bro, Muffin Top City. But you can see some good mass coming on. Muscle mass, and I'm trying to lose fat here. This is, where are we? January, and then we jump. End of January. The shape just improves massively. I was on 2,400 calories. So the weight moves pretty easily for me. All right, lat popping. The shape is coming up. The chest mass is coming. It's coming. Shout out Dad, took these pictures. Don't know what's going on with the hair. But you can see this is a result of a little something. But also, I would just wear the sweaty shirt for hours. You know, fix your hygiene. That's basically what I'm saying. But the mass is coming through. Yeah. Twist and back double by. Shout out Arnold. All right, now we're jumping February 6th, the birthday. So 22 here. Starting to lean up. And this is the genetics, right? So we're back at Pack Fair. This is my older half brother. That's Dylan. Here I am. Not bad, right? Look at the waist, dialed in. Obviously angle maxing, but looking lean here-ish. Foggy mirror selfie, but fixed up the facial hair, sorted. Here we are. End of February. It was a mini cut that I was going through just to get dialed. And yeah, the shape changed quick. Abs, always a strong point for me. The vascularity is increased a lot. You got little bro. I'm making a stank face for no reason. But the top line is looking nice. Again, chest is kind of poor. Arms are solid. Bro just was a mass monster on me. This is a check-in from March. So right before I kind of think left Terrence's Iron Eden. I mean, it was good, but obviously I was just not as dialed as I should have been. I probably wasn't a great athlete for him. Shape is there. Legs could use some more mass, which is why I was running Push-pull legs upper lower. Training legs twice a week. This is a nice shot. What is going on here? Why is that? Okay, for some reason it fragments when I zoom at some points. Alright. The cut face is coming in. Hair genetics are chopped, by the way. Both sides of the family. Striations coming in on the shoulders. Chest, again, is just low-key terrible. You can definitely see I've lost the fat. Look at that. She clean. Legs coming through. This is where my back shines through, is when I'm leaner. Like, we're going to have a look at this. The shape is nice. If I flex the arms more, it would have been better. And legs are questionable, posing-wise. But it's a good shot for me. Here we go. Shout out the homie Sophie. I think she took these. Dialed in the waist. The arms looking nice. No legs to see here. Side chest is definitely improving. And the legs. Look at that. Where are we now? Still March 8th. Yeah. You can see some leg leanness coming in. Fan of that. Look at the back lat spread. Way better than when I started. Some density is starting to come through. Oh, what is going on? There we go. Questionable posing, legs-wise, but here we go. Actually, was it Sophie or shout out Tom? Or Dylan? One of the homies. Look at this. What is going on? There we go. Serratus, nice. The knee could be probably turned out a little bit more, but the pose flows a little bit. Tries a hang-in. Aesthetic. Alright. Front lat. Solid shot. Legs. Non-existent, really. That is better. Hammies were stronger than quads, and it's probably still accurate today. Top line looks good. Alright, I do need to urinate. Stand for it for the light. So this is a good shot, personally. Well, in my opinion. Going to a small waist. Solid. Again with the legs, bro. Just, what am I doing? This is a bit better. See, if you're in the mind of the judges, right, they're going to be looking at you from a lower angle, so tilting your back towards them will make you look wider. Again, the legs are strange. Alright, where are we? So, 9th of March, this is the next day. Solid back lat spread, looking dense. Stank face again, but this, I think it was push. Solid ass pump. Got some trap veins going on, dude. This is where you can see some thickness in the back. Really nice. Had to include both, apparently. Me and bro went for a little walk up Mutton Bird. Aesthetic photo. This is nice. You can see the thickness of the lats coming through a little bit, and the arms are pretty solid. Chest is still just not where it needs to be, in my opinion. Where are we now? 20th of March. 24. Here we go. We're ramping up here. This is aesthetic. If I just... Well, no, that's still pretty solid if I actually flex that leg. Tiny waist. Shoulders are out. Here we go. So I think I was running another mini cut or maintenance. This is sick. This is sick. Ab veins, bro. Ab veins. You can see just the poor chest. Alright, this is just a little mirror flex. We're looking solid. This is towards the end of the cut, I believe. Post cardio. Not enjoying life. But looking lean. Like, shoulder is popping out. Obviously, a bit more rear delt would be nice. It could be the way I was posing. vascular. Chest is coming through. Not bad. More ab veins. Modified mantis. Me likey. Okay. There you go. Lats really coming through here. Obviously a bit more mass to connect the lower lat would look sick, but here you go. Lean. Legs coming through. Glutes are kind of there, but didn't train them. So obviously not going to be much. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Compared to that pose before, I've got the leg flexed and out a little bit. Yeah, skin, but bang, bang. Good pose. Here we go. Modified ab and bicep. This is really nice. Legs, we're not even going to... What is this? But looking dense, looking thick. Here we go. No pump. Natty lighting, but it's good. A good overhead sun. April. This is when I started just a health phase, I think. That is aesthetic. I got the victory pose. This is, I think, at my smallest. So I must have been about... What are you doing that for? 75 kilos? But yeah, that's nice. And again, you can see some leg shape starting to come through here, being a bit more consistent. Nice back lat. This is the best combination of, like, from around this time, leanness and size. So obviously being depleted and then you're starting to eat more carbs, your muscles are going to fill out, push against the skin. Look at that. Leg striations, bro. They're coming in. The vacuum. Getting better. I was a fan of the victory pose for some reason. There we go. Bang, 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 bang. Tight waist. It's good. I wanted to compete this year. That was the plan. I did decide to extend it to this year, which way better in my opinion. Aesthetics are there. Look at that. Tight waist. Learning to push the hip back. Legs are still questionable in the pose. Arms full as. This was probably the most aesthetic period of my physique. And haircuts, bro. This is really nice. Good shot. And then I cut it all off. Anyway, bro's here. He's looking solid too. Legs leaning out. This is just testing out some clothes. I think I still have this jumper somewhere. Yeah, bro, when I first got leg veins, I was so excited. That was like the last thing to come in vein-wise. This is after a full, solid meal. Still ab veins there. Still love doing these. This is May, so I think this is the end of the cut, so which is March, April, May, 2 months. You can definitely see the density. It's coming in. Here we go. This is halfway through the cut, or start of and end. Yeah. Alright, still May. Thick back. And I was just way too vertical. This was a pose I was trying to figure out for a long time. You can see the shape is improved measurably. Legs are getting much better. This is I think post-dinner pose. Shape is out. This is where I started pushing food up. Obviously, need to grow. Bathroom selfie. This, I think, for some reason, I haven't been able to match this quality of physique in a while. Or like just the shape or something about the aesthetic. This gives me like real classic vibes. I really like it. And this as well. Look at that. Obviously the legs are, again, just what's going on. But you can see the sweep is there, so that's saving me a little bit. The twisting is nice. This looks really full. Again, I'm like hunching over here, flexing that leg though. That's classic as fuck. So obviously my nutrition, I'm starting to dial that in. Still, sleep was not a priority. Like I was averaging 5 hours a night, maybe 6. Here we go, we're at June. This is showing off the shoulder waist ratio really well. Bro got me laughing mid pose. Alright. You can see the fluffiness definitely setting in, but in the face, I was enjoying lifting, bro. It was good. Now this is a week where I had to work 70 hours because the bosses went to Sydney and I had to make sure that shit ran well. But you can see this was 2022. I think it's a 2-year difference. Yeah, so 20 to 20 to 22 years old. So we're in 2024. I don't know, that looks so disgusting. What the fuck? But much leaner. I think this is a similar weight. That just goes to show weight isn't it is like a factor, but body composition plays a huge role. Look at that. What is the face that I'm making on the left, bro? I thought this was a sick photo. I remember chucking it up on the story. Felt aesthetic as fuck in these, bro. Look at the shape. This like a week later, but it's like, what the hell? Looking like somewhat a bodybuilder, right? A little bit. Legs improving. This is just, that's nice. And similar. Okay, the legs are questionable here. If I had been more kind of like that rather than straight, it would be better, but this is good. And obviously if I push the hips back, top line towards the camera. Bro, I think I still have this post up. I don't know. Let me check. Gosh. Got a long way to go. But this was the most, yeah, I do, aesthetic that I had ever looked, ever. I don't know. Like, just look at it. That's Chad. I think we're doing like a time jump here. Bang. No. There's somewhere in here. 30. Yeah. The shape is looking good. Here I start to get a bit more invested in posing. You can see, like, I'm setting up the bottom. I think I was putting a lot of focus onto that because what the hell is going up the top? This is a year's difference. Yeah. The shape is just measurably improved. Hell yeah. This is just showing off the physique, kind of, I think it must have been after cardio. No, it was after training. Looking solid. Posing is just questionable. Alright, again, not setting up the legs properly. This makes it look like I don't even train legs, but I'm looking thick. I think we're just about to start another mini cut health phase soon. Alright, again, this could be a year's difference, or it's hard to tell. No, 6 months maybe. Yeah. You can see lats. Bang. Alright. The waist is still okay. Like, waist control is good. Legs, dense. Some vascularity, some striations. Solid. Alright, we're looking at, I believe this is aesthetic era, Alex. So, May, around May. Okay, May to September. So May, June, July, August, September. 5 or 6 months difference. I think that makes sense. Yeah. So arms, did they improve? Sure. Lats, you can see they're a bit bigger, right? Waist, still tight-ish. You know, you can see the legs are posed a little bit better, tiny bit. See, because I'm externally rotating my knee here, whereas this one is kind of falling inwards. Bro, yeah, this was the most aesthetic I looked for a long time. Even though not far off, but like premium physique. All right. Flashback to the side relaxed. The density is just immeasurable. Also, most peak haircut I've ever had. Getting into sort of posing a bit more. Crucifix. This is Icarus pose, right? Solid. This is where I kind of also, really enjoy the shape that I was at. I think this is a 3-month comparison. Not bad. I'm posing better. That's literally it. There's minute difference in muscle density, but all right, here we have the Instagram profile pic. Look at that. This was a peak pump, bro. Arms look low-key small, but that's fine. Yeah. Recorded on this camera, on that camera. I've been slack on recording, like gym content, but it is what it is, Still rocking the aesthetic haircut and aesthetic physique. Posing is improving. This was my more favorable, most muscular sort of pose. See, the posing is like off by a little bit, but it's almost there. Don't mind me, I'm gonna crack open a little some. Hips are back, pushing through the leg. The lats are popping, solid. So here we have, I'm in a health phase here. This is leanest, Alex. So, you got to have periods of not looking aesthetic to put on mass. You know what I'm saying? So you can see arms improved immeasurably. This is March to November. Okay. Right, I think this is a year's difference, actually. You can see the arms have improved. Lats, definitely thicker. And legs, no doubt. I was hiding them. All right, and here we go. We dropped it back to the buzz. All right, this is solid. So I think we are in another growth phase. So yeah, look, happy chap. Getting some shape. Looking like a bodybuilder-ish. The legs not flexed here, but would be better if they were. This is just dog shit quality. Must have posted on the story, I think. Here we go. Remember back to the start of the vid. Yep. Just that's the reality of it, right? It's the years that you put in. If you think on a longer time horizon, that's how you get there. We're going to kind of speed through the last part as it gets a bit more relevant to today. Also because I got to dip in like 10 minutes. Aesthetic, Alex versus bulked. You can see the mass is added. You know, this is where I started locking in on my sleep way more. Getting consistent sleep. I really liked this shot. Good balance of leanness to size. Shaved off the beard for some reason. Twisting back double bi. Solid. Comparing back to the aesthetic. Obviously I could pull a better vacuum being lighter. But I did add some mass, so that's the main thing. Look at the shape. Look at the shape. It's fucking solid. Alright, there we go. We can compare. So that's start of the journey, like at the end of the cut, mini cut. That's a year and a half in. Solid. Another shot like that, looking good, putting on the size. Yeah, this is where, and even towards the end of this growth phase, I had to lock in. So February's gonna even look crazier. Rocking the goatee here for some reason. So health phase versus massing phase. Look, you can see. Leanest, lightest, heaviest. Really started pushing the food. I had to lock in. This was like the last growth phase before prep. Yep, still had the lean legs. This was post workout. Shape is there, solid. Yep. Just look at the difference. Lightest, I think this was 2 years. Yeah. You can definitely see mass was applied. Look at that. Now this is a health phase. So pre-prep phase, I don't know what I did with the hair, bro. It's fucking chopped. Love these comparisons, apparently. Alright, this is where it starts getting more bodybuildery. As I'll have to be, you know, so prep started May 1st. So this is the health phase. I'm still anabolic here, you know. Anabolic is for... Alright. This is where you see the physique. It doesn't take a downturn, but a downsize. Aesthetic hair versus not. This is where the lats popping, you know. This front relaxed looks just so wild. We're locking in here. We're locking in. So heaviest was 86, 87. Towards the end of this health phase, I get to... this is the end. This is where prep started. I started a day early, actually. 80 kilos. All right. This is where the vascularity starts popping off the charts. Rear relaxed. Solid. Side relaxed. Also solid. Side try. The top line is still just weak, in my opinion, but the legs are popping. Aesthetic story photo. Graininess coming through. We're 2 weeks into prep. That is a mean mantis. All right, solid. Hit a leg day when the weather was going crazy. Side relax. You can see the definition coming through. And vascularity. Inspired by Terence Rutten. Yeah. If you want to get somewhere, you look at the greats, right? Look at the people who are performing and consistently for a long time. This is when I copped the trunks. This is prep 3 weeks in. I was dropping a kilo a week here. Re-relaxed looking mean. Look at that. Back double looking good. I think this was the most peak chest pump out of them all. Look at the legs. Getting coached by the bros, Lockie. Shout out. Also, if you watch the YouTube. Again here, so we trained for a couple days in a row, a few days. Starter prep versus now. Well, not now, the 1st of June. This was 76 kilos. So this is where I started holding weight. I'm playing around with posing here. high carbs, bro. Plus a little Cialis. What the helly? This is post Stairmaster. I'm not doing an insane amount of cardio, but still, what the? Legs were pumped as. This might have been the most peak pump. I don't know. It was just a solid shot. But I was getting dialed way too quickly. So this would be June, July, August, September, like 13 weeks out. Solid. Yeah. Look at that. Shoulder to waist ratio is nuts. Back veins, striated glutes, hamstrings coming in. This is fasted. Look at the legs. I was coming in way too dialed. Trained with Brody. Shout out again. So Brody Shreds. No, what is he? What is he on IG? Brody. Brody Palmer on Instagram. I forget what his actual gym Instagram is. Natty athlete. He's competing in ICN, so he's 12 weeks out in this photo. Solid. Yeah, this is like a 20-minute posing session. This is post cardio, bro. Look, I got the spin bike off of Dad. Shout out again. Look at the veins, bro. Crazy. Side relaxed. Pretty good. Post leg day. This is starter prep versus 4, 5 weeks in, 6, 7. Yeah, man. Densities, posing's just better, I think, and a little bit denser. Like, look at that. Yeah. Fasted at before work, 3 a.m. This was a nuts pump. Push day. So I fed back up a little bit recently. I trended up. Weight is about 80 kilos at the moment. Fasted. I was coming in way too quick, way too dialed. So I'm gonna start dropping weight again at 10 weeks out. So this was just the other day. Still, so this would have been 78 or 79 kilos fasted. Posing's better on the left, but still just as lean. I don't know what the fuck was going on with my eyes, bro. I mean, I just woke up. It's 4 a.m. Ninja Creamy. Get on that shit. All right. Here we go. This is post cheat meal. I had loaded fries. So I got posing in. The hamstrings are teasing, bro. Obviously holding a bit of water, but crazy shot. So you can see the leanness. I did train legs in this one. Must have been the angle, bro, but arms are looking bigger. Or maybe I just... Anyway. Pushing the hips back more here, so legs looking just as lean. This is 2 or 3 kilos heavier than the left. The back's looking more dense. Posing better. Still just as lean in the legs. So yeah, this was yesterday. Morning weight has been 79 or 80 and looking just as lean. So if anything, I could be growing into the show. Sorry for the long ass video. If you stuck to the end, I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you want a breakdown on something in particular, what I kind of changed. If you want to keep up with a more live update on the physique, go to Alex Vandermaat on Instagram, same on TikTok. I post physique updates, kind of general content. I'm kicking it up a bit more, so keep your eyes peeled. I do compete on the 20th of September, so I am now 11 weeks out, so yeah, it's going to be wild. Last year as a junior, so I'm going to try and take some trophies. trophy, take a trophy, and then compete the overall as well, just to see where I'm at, and then head to a nice long off season and get fucking wham. But yeah, I appreciate you if you did stick around. I'll put stamps for each year, just so you're not so lost. You can go just year by year, kind of take a little peek. I know no one's going to sit around and watch a 16 video. Appreciate you guys always. I think the YouTube's up to 59 subscribers. Let's have a look. Yeah. So, shout out my 59 people. That's solid. Because, you know, you can get taken away, like, not even 100 subscribers? Bro, I don't even know 59 people that well. I ain't got 59 homies. Probably got 5. So, yeah. I'm going to just try and just keep that reality, you know. If you do enjoy my content or watch it at all, you know, I appreciate you big time. All right, peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.